Fáilte or Cóide, Fáilte Rash, Goodie or Sharmanas on Connacht 4. Welcome everybody to our ceremony for Autumn Equinox. It's Misha Sean, my name is John.
This is Misha Karen, my name is Karen, and we're delighted to be here with this wonderful, the last Celtic festival of the year, which might sound strange to you, but remember that Samhain, the next festival, is known as the Celtic New Year. So this, in fact, wraps up the 8 of the year. And the name equinox is a Latin word for equal to night. And of course, in Irish, again, we have a similar meaning with connacht. And you probably have noticed this time of the year the beautiful autumn colours, the reds, the scarlets, the russets, those beautiful sense of the leaves falling, that the trees are letting go what no longer serves them at this final time of the year as we head now in the direction of Samhain and the new year.
Equinoxes happen exactly at the halfway moment between the solstices, so that we are here in the Northern Hemisphere halfway between summer solstice and winter solstice. Those of us in Southern Hemisphere, of course, halfway between winter solstice and summer solstice. So that the equality of light and dark at equinox asks us to bring our lives into alignment with balance. The balance of light and dark and all meanings of those energies of light and dark. Of course, for us in autumn equinox, it's about working with the sunlight, now in balance with the dark, but the sunlight of the summer behind us. The sunlight of summer, the sunlight of early autumn, coming into balance now with the darkness of mid-autumn, but that darkness, of course, now is going to increase for us into later autumn and into winter. So we're going to invite you into a traditional ceremony using part of the harvest on Ul, on apple, and that we divide in half to work in a balanced ceremony and to place into the flesh of the apple your alignment, your synchronicity, your appreciation, your relationship with those energies of light and dark. And the balance principle at equinox, so important, as balance is, of course, the great foundation to all health and well-being. So we're going to divide the apple in half. And apples, of course, so abundant after the harvest. And when we open an apple, you'll be familiar in the center of the apple that we encounter the 5-pointed star, the star of Sophia, the star of wisdom. So I'll pass both halves to Karen. And if you're doing the ceremony with your apple, to just begin by holding both halves of your apple, to allow yourself physically to be met by the principle of balance, but also to be met by the invitation in this ceremony to work and strive towards intentional balance.
And of course, you're probably familiar with the concept of the right brain corresponding with the left side of the body, and the left side of the brain, the right side of the body. So there can be a sense of imbalance within ourselves physically. So this is an opportunity to bring that into alignment.
And for our ceremony, Karen's going to work with one half of the apple, me with the other. And we're going to now invite you to take part in this ceremony, which you can do live, watching with us now. Or you may wish to use this video to learn how to work with your apple, that you can do immediately afterwards.
I'm putting little cuts into the flesh of the apple, and that's going to give me the opportunity to place within this symbols of the spring and summer, the lighter half of the year. And that might align to what I consider the lightness within me, within the community, within the world. It's an opportunity to celebrate, to acknowledge,
and
to honour.
With my half of the apple, I'm going to, of course, work with the balancing darkness in perfect balance at equinox, but also now facing into later autumn and winter as that darkness increases, and really inviting me and you into our relationship with that darkness. And so many of us carry stigma and judgment around that darkness, but we're not going to be able to turn it down or get rid of it, to come into alignment with nature, which all these seasonal rituals ask us to do. Ask us in this occasion to come into a positive, a healthy, healing relationship, a creative, courageous relationship with that invitation of how to live in the increasing darkness that's a natural flow after autumn equinox.
Mm-hmm. So, working with the lighter half of the year, what we consider light, I'm going to take some rosemary here, and I'm using this as a symbol of springtime. It's a very refreshing herb. It would be, speaking of fresh starts, new beginnings, very much invigorating. So that is the symbol I'm going to use.
And I'm going to reach for the ferns that are turning brown now on our hillsides and ditches, to reach for a fern to help me connect with the growing darkness.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, I'm going to blow with my breath my holding of the lightness, which could be what that means for me personally, what that means for me within my community, within my family, within the world. And then I'm going to give you the opportunity to do the same, to blow with your breath towards this, the holding for yourself, for your family and community, and for the world.
Thank you. And in balance to that, working prayerfully with the ferns to cultivate balance, but also to cultivate a healing relationship with the darkness to come in second half of autumn and winter. So I'm blowing with my breath the call for life and living in the dark dream time of the growing darkness into the second half of autumn and depth of winter. And you preparing now your 3 breaths to blow into the brown ferns, your intentional life and living, intentions for your health, intentions for your well-being, intentions for your loved ones and the world, of how the growing darkness of later autumn and the depth of winter can be embraced with great positivity. 3 breaths. Thank you.
And now I'm taking 3 beautiful colourful flowers. I'm using here the reds of the fuchsia, which is often seen gracing our hedgerows, particularly down in the southern half of the country. So again, symbolising the growth, the beauty, the colour of summer. I'm blowing within that lightness, what I perceive as a lightness for myself, family, community, and the world. And now I offer these to you, for you to blow in with your breath, your holding of the light for yourself, your family and your community, and the world. Thank you. And now I'm going to place these in the apple.
And the colour of our heather. Coming forward, still in bloom, of course, in Ireland and the mountains and ditches. But I'm working now with 3 blossoms of heather. Again, to help me connect with the life in the dream time that's possible in the darkening weeks ahead after autumn equinox, but also to help me to work with the balance in this quintessential special time of equality between darkness and light at equinox. So the colour of the heather, allowing me to find connection to the creativity, to the rest and stillness, to the dream of new life that's in the potential of the darkness. And now dropping into your heart, preparing your 3 breaths, and blowing with your 3 breaths into the heather. Your vision, your calling of how life is to be lived in the darkening dream time of late autumn and into winter, embracing the darkness the seasons bring us at this time of year. Thank you.
And if you are one of the people who don't necessarily look forward to the darkening of the days, who maybe dread that sense of winter time, may this ceremony help you to come to new alignment with the darkness. It's a mirror of the darkness of the womb, a very safe and warm place. It's the mirror of the nighttime, increasingly known as a feminine time, where the daytime is increasingly known as a light, masculine time. And these would be us circling back, spiraling back to the old ways of seeing the moon as feminine and the sun as masculine.
And so if you're working with your apple immediately after this video, then, as Karen is now, take both halves of the apple together, filled with your prayers and manifestations and intentions, and just now experience the balance before we give these apples to nature.
Very different now. Very, yes, lighter, different, energetically different.
Yes, in truth, when I felt both apples at the start of our ceremony, I did feel one heavier than the other, and now they feel absolutely equal in weight.
Mm.
And the tradition is
Yes.
now that we give both halves of the apple to nature. Where and how? Well, the tradition is to place them now in a local tree. So they are the perfect wild food for the birds. And indeed, the birds will come. And that the birds, it said, then carry the prayers in both these apple halves out into nature on our behalf.
And it's wonderful to watch them over the 3 days of the festival. You may hear that people talk of Autumn Equinox as being on the 21st of September. But of course, the exact astronomical number is the 22nd of September this year at 2:30 in the afternoon. And that's been worked out as the exact point between Lunasa and Samhain. But in the way of the triple spiral that we've seen gracing the front of Newgrange, it was the way of our ancestors to celebrate the day before, the day of, and the day after a Celtic festival. So there's plenty of time to make your ritual, to place it into the tree, and to watch what happens next.
And as you do, glance into the centre of the apple to see that 5-pointed star. For our ancestors always held that ceremonies with the apple, and even eating the apple, was always a deep engagement with wisdom. So may we all grow in wisdom as a consequence of our experience of Autumn Equinox, and may that wisdom come to us but also be shared in the world as the birds take our prayers outwards and upwards.
Enjoy. We have thoroughly enjoyed being here with you for this time, and we look forward to our next Celtic Festival ceremony together, which will be the Celtic New Year at Samhain time. Slán go fóill, goodbye for a little while.
Connacht Hannah or Ingalir.